And I would like to remind everybody present here on the necessity to follow sanitary restrictions, both here in the room and outside. I'm Andrzej Kania. I have the honor of being the chairperson of the Supervisory Board of TAURON Polska Energia S.A. And according to the Code of Commercial Procedure and Article 13 of the Articles of Association, I'm authorized to open an ordinary general shareholders meeting. I would like to welcome all you present here and thank you for coming. Dear ladies and gentlemen, fulfilling my duties, I would like to open the sitting of the ordinary shareholders meeting of TAURON Polska Energia S.A. based in Katowice. Before we proceed with item 2 of the agenda, namely the election of the chairperson for the ordinary general meeting, I would like to explain to you the rules of voting that will be handled by a computer system. So I would like to ask a representative of the company, the service provider, to provide you with short, brief introduction into the principles of voting. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the General Shareholders Meeting. Following the signature of a list of attendance, you are provided with a tablet for voting. On the screen, when the vote is ordered, you will see your decision choices. It is a two-stage vote. First, you pick your decision, and then you approve your choice. The technology is obviously very, very simple. Should you have any questions or problems, contact me. If you have any questions, please, could you ask them right now? I don't see any questions and queries, so I recognize the rules introduction to the voting principles and rules clear to you. So we proceed to item 2 of the agenda, election of the chairperson of the ordinary general shareholders meeting. Please submit your candidates for the chairman. On behalf of KGHM Polska Miedź, I would like to propose Anna Kowalik to be the chairperson of the General Shareholders Meeting. I confirm Anna Kowalik to have been submitted as the chairperson for the General Shareholders Meeting. Do you agree to be a candidate? Are there any other candidatures? I don't see any. So I would like to order a vote for Anna Kowalik to be ordered the chairperson of the General Shareholders Meeting of TAURON Polska Energia. The draft resolution is going to be displayed on the screen. Please cast your votes now. Have all the shareholders cast their votes? Not yet, I can see. Once again, I would like to inquire if all the shareholders could cast their votes. So I close the vote, and I would like to receive the voting report. I would like to announce that there have been 1,030,943,521 votes for the candidate, 300,000 against and no abstentions. I would like to request that Madam Chairperson chair this meeting in a follow-up.
Teraz chyba lepiej, tak?
You can hear me now. Okay, once again, so thank you very much for your trust and for the choice for the election. So I would like to welcome everybody officially. So what is before me is a list of attendance. Sorry, could you just please give me a few moments to place myself and arrange here with all the documents.
Dobrze, czyli rozumiem, że jeszcze tak, lista obecności jeszcze akcjonariusz się zgłosił.
Oh, I can see one shareholder has just come. So the list of attendance will change, and current status will change as well.
Czyli czekaliśmy teraz, proszę Państwa, na...
We are waiting for the revised attendance list to confirm the current attendance.
Proszę Państwa, mam przedstawioną listę obecności.
Before me is the new and revised list of attendance. Give me a moment to sign it. Please remain patient.
Proszę Państwa, zgodnie z przedłożoną listą obecności
The attendance list that I have been presented with today's General Shareholders meeting, we have the representation of out of 100%, 1,702,509 and 394 shares in total. We have 141 shareholders representing 1,038,399,148 shares, which constitute 59 up to 3 decimal points, 59.250, which represents 1,031,543,521 votes in total. The list of attendance is displayed here. It is going to be updated if needed. According to paragraph 10 of the Articles of Association, let me remind you that there may be the following limitations in the right of vote. The right of vote of shareholders in disposal of more than 60% of all shares in a company is limited in the following manner. None of them can perform more than 10% of all the shares in the company, except for the state treasury and subsidiaries thereof. In a period in which the state treasury and the subsidiaries holds the shares in the company, enable us to perform at least 25% of shares in the company at the General Shareholders meeting. The votes that last with the shareholders under the relationship of dominance under the Articles of Association or groupings of shareholders are accumulated. In the case where this accumulated number of votes exceeds 10% of all votes in the company, this is reduced there too, and the principles of reduction of the number of votes are set in paragraph 10.6.7 of the Articles of Association of the company. Having the following in mind, I would like to announce that KGHM, Polska Miedź, according to the declaration submitted, holds more than 10% of votes in the company, according to the list of attendance. The General Shareholders meeting on the 24th of May 2021, this shareholder holds 182,110,566 shares, which constitute 10.39% of all votes in the company. With regard to the foregoing, and the attendance list, this already contains the restrictions and limitations of the votes held by KGHM Polska Energia S.A. to 10%. I would also like to mention that there's another shareholder holding more than 10% of votes in the company, the State Treasury, towards which the limitations according to the state to the Articles of Association do not apply, namely holding more than 25% of votes in the company. That's the guiding principles. I would also like to require and request the shareholders and the plenipotentiaries to submit the remarks and information to the minutes of the meeting if they are subject to the relationship of dominance according to paragraph 10.5 of the Articles of Association. That's as much as the accumulation of votes and reduction of the number of votes is concerned. Now, according to documents submitted to me, I would like to announce that the shareholders meeting of TAURON Polska Energia based in Katowice has been convened duly by publication on the website. Published on the 27th of April 2021 following the proceedings according to the mode of information, according to public procurement law, and introducing financial institutions into the regulated market, as well as the law on public companies, 402 Index 2 of the Code of Commercial Companies. So, the list of attendance of all the shareholders eligible to take part in the shareholders meeting was provided 3 days before the date of the general shareholders meeting, that is starting from the 21st of May 2021. According to the minutes, according to the agenda, we are about to approach item 3 of the agenda. According to information I was given on the attendance list, the general state of attending, as well as with regard to the convention of the general shareholders meeting, I would like to announce that this meeting has been convened duly and is capable of adopting resolution. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the agenda, we are about to acknowledge that the ordinary general shareholders meeting has been duly convened, but I would like to have an arrangement with you, ladies and gentlemen, so that this general shareholders meeting be performed really efficiently. Obviously, it's up to you. All documents concerning the general shareholders meeting, draft resolutions, minutes of the meeting, resolutions of individual authorities of the company, substantiation, and so on and so forth. Everything has been published on the website. So, if you allow us to, I shall not read the draft resolutions or the resolutions, since obviously you have all been capable of getting accustomed with, and this will obviously add to the efficiency of this meeting. Is there any of the shareholders that objects to this mode of procedure or has any reservations there too? I don't see, I can't hear. So I understand that you relieve me of the obligation to read the draft resolutions for this general shareholders meeting. Thank you very much for that. So we are proceeding with item 4, namely the adoption of the agenda of the general shareholders meeting. So I open a vote on acknowledgement of the draft agenda of the general shareholders meeting. I understand the vote is in progress now. Is it? Have all the shareholders been capable of casting their votes? I can't see any reservations or remarks there too. I would like to be provided with the results of the vote if all the shareholders already cast the votes, obviously.
Dziękuję. Proszę Państwa, w głosowaniu
Gentlemen, In the vote, there have been 1,031,443,521 votes, valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares, constituted 58.859% of the share capital, with 1,031,443,521 votes for, no votes against, and no abstentions. Which means that the agenda has been adopted. Let's proceed to formal item 5 of the Ordinary General Shareholders Meeting, namely, adopting a resolution on revoking the secrecy of voting on the election of committees appointed by the Ordinary General Meeting. The draft resolution has been just displayed on screen. Are there any reservations, remarks thereto? If no, now I hereby open a vote on this draft resolution.
Proszę Państwa, czy wszyscy
Ladies and gentlemen, have all the attendants cast their votes? If so, I'm closing the vote. And please provide the results. Thank you. 1,031,543,521 valid votes have been cast out of the same number of shares, 1,031,543,521 shares, constituting 58.86% of the share capital. There are no votes against, no abstentions, and the votes for, all of the votes are for. The resolution has been adopted. Now another item of the agenda, election of the ballot counting committee of the Ordinary General Meeting. Do you have any candidates? Please provide your candidates. On behalf of KJJ Polska Miedź, I would like to propose Mr. Andrzej Prusmal, Romana Kaczmarek, and Maciej Sierpiński as candidates for the ballot counting committee. Any other candidates? No. Therefore, well, since according to the regulations, we need to have 3 candidates, please let us proceed to elect the ballot counting committee. Mr. Andrzej Prusmal, Mr. Roman Kaczmarek, Miss Romana Kaczmarek, and Mr. Maciej Sierpiński. So we have the draft resolution displayed on the screen. Are there any comments? If not, please vote on the election of the ballot counting committee. If all the attendants cast their votes, or is the vote... Okay, if everybody has cast their votes, there are no objections, please provide the results. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the number of votes cast in the voting was 1,031,543,521 valid votes, out of the same number of shares representing 58.86% of the share capital. The votes for were 1,031,543,521 votes, no votes against, no abstentions. So the resolution has been adopted. We have elected the ballot counting committee. Now, I would like the Commission to arrange its composition because we need a chairperson. Mr. Andrzej Prutzmal is the chairman of the committee. Another item on the agenda is the presentation of financial results of the company and the TAURON Polska Energia S.A. Group. I would like to give the floor to the CEO. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's the first time actually to present these results as the CEO of TAURON Polska Energia at the general meeting of shareholders for 2020. The year 2020 was an exceptional year, a unique year. The whole economy, not only Polish but global economy, was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, which impacted strongly not only the energy sector but the whole economy. It had a very negative impact. I would like to remind you that for the first time in 30 years we've observed a decrease of GDP, and we observed decrease in consumption of electric power as well, which is the main source of revenue for generating income for the group. At the same time, we've been struggling with other problems. The group has been struggling with the climate policy of the European Union, which results in abrupt growth, uncontrolled growth in CO2 allowances, which throughout 2020 increased in price out of 20 to more than 30 euros. Obviously, the group has been counteracting the current changes in allowances by establishing, securing and hedging transactions. But the year 2020 has been secured in volume in years 2018 and 2019, where the prices of allowances, CO2 emission allowances, were lower. So this is the positive effect of the hedging transactions, of the securing transactions of the previous years, which we could see in 2020. As of operating data, the distribution of electric power was 50.3 almost terawatt hours, which is a decrease as compared to 2019 by about 3%, and this value is close to the decrease of energy distribution all over the country. Coal-fired units production dropped by about 15% to 10.6 terawatt hours. The sales of energy dropped by about 4% to about 32.4 terawatt hours, which is also a value close to what happened in the Polish economy as a whole. The biggest drops were observed in the tariff group C, that is where our customers are mainly small businesses that have been mostly affected by limitations due to the COVID-19 pandemic. At the same time, we increased the renewable sources of energy production increased. Heat production increased by about 7%. And production of commercial coal increased by about 20% to 4.5 million tons. Revenues from sales for 2020 were 20,367 million zlotys, which is an increase as compared to 2019 by 7%. EBITDA increased by 17%, and in 2020 it was 4,223 million zlotys. However, the year ended up in a loss. The company mainly communicated about there being some write-offs of assets, conventional assets value, according to the tests concerning the loss of value of those assets, and the consolidating net result ended up in a loss of 2,485 million zlotys. Investment outlays amounted to 4,032 million zlotys, which is a decrease by 2%. And one of the most important factors, covenant net debt to EBITDA, dropped to 2.5 as compared to 2019. This is the most important operating and financial data concerning the group. And if the chairperson allows, I will give the floor to Mr. Surma, who will provide detailed financial results for 2020 and sectoral data. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I will try and show you the key numbers in the financial results of our group. As for revenues, year to year, the revenues increased by 1.2 billion zlotys, and despite the drop in volume mentioned by the CEO, due to increase in prices in distribution group and tariff G, the group observed higher results year to year. As for net result and loss of 2.5 billion zlotys almost, as the CEO mentioned, these were mainly write-offs concerning assets in the conventional sector, where we see the strong decarbonization policy effect of the European Union and CO2 allowances and dropping margin regarding the conventional production of energy. Also, we had to deal last year with some heat-producing asset sales, so they were disposed of and moved to another sector, to a separate sector, and re-evaluated to their goodwill value, which resulted in write-offs concerning the assets, and this affected the result. If not for these write-offs, the result would probably be about 1 billion zlotys. As for EBITDA, we observed an increase, significant increase, 6 million zlotys year to year. So, well, we should pay attention, though, to one of events. One of them was the dissolution of actuarial reserves provisions and the provisions for employees. These one-off events resulted in 530 million. If we compare EBITDA of 2019 and 2020, this increase would not be significant. EBITDA would be 3% higher, and it will be comparable at the level of 3.6 million. As for division of result into particular sectors, At this point, I would like to emphasize that that continually distribution has been the most important sector, which provides 70%, generates 70% of the EBITDA of all the segments. Second most important segment is that contributes to our EBITDA is, similarly to previous years, is sales, which is another very important activity of our company, of our group. And third place here in this ranking list is quite a surprise, because there's a change here. As the third segment that used to contribute most to our EBITDA was conventional generation of energy, but last year, due to the decreasing margins and much less volume related to the COVID year, but also related to large imports of energy to Poland and a growing share of renewable energy, we could observe it, because renewable energy sources are the third contributor to the value of EBITDA. And I would like to emphasize at this point that the capacity of renewables is 500 megawatts, and coal-fired units is more than 4,000. So 8 times smaller assets generated a higher value, as you can see, in 2020. As for the key factors and their distribution, key factors that affected year-to-year EBITDA, we have distribution, an increase by 400 million, 425 million related to the dissolution of the provisions for employee benefit. Distribution quite stable. As for renewables, we had some negative impact, but in 2019 we acquired 190 megawatts in renewable sources of energy. It was a one-off event, and we generated profit of 120 million by this event. But if we eliminate that, the impact of renewables is positive as regards EBITDA in terms of price and in terms of volume. We had good wind last year. Conventional segment, we see the negative impact on sales, excuse me. And here we have lower margins. The prices did not increase as quickly as the prices of allowances, and lower volumes due to imports and due to increasing share of renewables. So sales here, we do observe some increase, but it was quite stable year to year, because last year we had a one-off event involving the repurchase of electric power from Nowe Jaworzno and commissioning of a new power unit, which was to be done in January, and it actually happened in November, and the repurchase was quite beneficial and generated 300 million of EBITDA due to market situation. And the last segment, which is extraction, it had positive effect on EBITDA year to year. However, it's not profitable as compared to general EBITDA. The EBITDA was still negative, but the positive contribution was affected by increase of mine coal and increase of sales of part of that coal and allocation some of that coal as inventory, and the costs were balanced in the balance sheet. So the cost of this coal will be determined by the price of inventory sales in the future. As for debt, year to year, it's quite stable. Gross debt is 13.5 billion zlotys. Net debt calculated for financial contracts is about 10.5 billion zlotys, which is quite similar to last year. We also observed the covenant drop, which dropped to 2.51%, which is net debt to EBITDA covenant. This positive EBITDA that I mentioned before and the several one-off events affected the factor, which improved this factor year to year. And in financial contracts, and at least in some, the level of this factor is 3.5. So the company is at a high level of indebtedness, but safe as regards financial contracts. As for available financing, it was 3.4 billion zlotys. We have liquidity enough to operate in the next year. The most important repayment of debt will be in December 2022, and we're working on a solution to mitigate this repayment in the coming period. As for investment outlays, they are on a similar level year to year, about 4 billion zlotys. The most significant part thereof is in the distribution area, almost half of the capex. And the rest of it are outlays in the conventional energy sector, which involve construction of 910 megawatt power unit in Jaworzno and adjusting the units to BAT requirements. It's the last year with such a significant capex in conventional energy. It's the last power unit that we're building. We're not going to incur any more outlays in this respect, apart from maintenance or recovery or overhaul of those units in the future. And the last slide of concerning unit results. Here we have increase in revenues, which is purely related to the change of sales model in the group. Due to market access, it was shifted to TAURON Polska Energia, which from the point of view of a single unit financial result, which is decreased by write-off of assets of conventional energy companies, and we have negative impact on debts, on loans that are allocated in that area, and also the result was worsened by the provision that was established against a contract with NJGT and TAURON Polska Energia. It has no real impact, but it has some, it translates into the financial statements. Similarly to those one-off events, if not for them, the result would have been positive. So much for financial data for 2020.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or remarks pertaining to the results that have just been reported to you? If there are none, ladies and gentlemen, I would like us to proceed to the next item in agenda, namely the presentation of the report of the Supervisory Board. Third is the report on the activities of the Supervisory Board in the financial year 2020, including the assessment of the internal control systems, risk management, compliance, and internal audit function, covering all significant control mechanisms, and in particular including those related to the financial reporting and operating activity, assessment of the manner in which the company fulfills its information obligations concerning the application of corporate governance principles, the assessment of the rationality of the company's policy in the field of sponsoring charity or other similar activities, and assessment of compliance with independent criteria by the members of the Supervisory Board, as well as yet another report, namely report of the Supervisory Board on the assessment of the financial statements of TAURON Polska Energia S.A., the consolidated financial statements of the company, the management report of the operations of the company, and the TAURON Group for the financial year ended on the 31st of December. You have all those reports listed on the slides. They were obviously all published on the website and so provided available to you. Do you have any questions pertaining to those two reports? Is there any necessity that we keep discussing them? If none, thank you very much. Let's proceed to item 9. Consideration of the financial statements of TAURON Polska Energia S.A. for the year ended on the 21st of December 2020, complying with the international financial reporting standards as approved by the European Union, and adoption of a resolution on the approval thereof. We have already displayed a draft resolution on the screen. Have you got any questions with regard to the draft resolution? If there are none, I hereby open the vote on this draft resolution. Have all the shareholders cast their votes? Not yet, I can see. The vote is in progress yet. If all the shareholders cast their votes, I would like to request the ballot counting committee to provide me with a report on the vote results. Dear ladies and gentlemen, a resolution on approving the financial statements of TAURON Polska Energia S.A. for the year ended on the 21st of December 2020, comply with the international financial reporting standards. There were 1,038,399,148 votes cast out of 1,031,543,521 votes, representing 59.859% of the share capital, with 1,030,594,357 votes for, no votes against, and 949,164 abstentions. Out of 1,031,543,521 votes cast, the resolution has been adopted. Thank you very much for voting. Let's proceed to item 10 of the agenda. Consideration of the consolidated financial statements of the company. We shall approve that in a moment, and adopting the right resolution on its approval. So the consideration of the consolidated financial statements of TAURON Polska Energia as a group for the year on the 21st December 2020, complying with international financial reporting standards approved by the European Union, and adoption of a resolution on its approval. That's the title of the draft resolution. Obviously, this consolidated financial statements have been rendered available to the shareholders, announced on the website, and commented upon by the management board a moment ago. Have you got any questions? If none, you can see the draft resolution displayed on the screen. Any questions, remarks, and reservations pertaining to the draft resolution? If there are none, I hereby open the vote.
Czy wszyscy...
Have all the shareholders cast their votes? If so, I close the vote and request that the ballot counting committee provide me with the results thereof. Ladies and gentlemen, a resolution on approval of the consolidated financial statements of the group of TAURON Polska Energia after the year ended on the 21st December 2020 was approved with 1,038,543,521 votes for, with 1,030,594,035 votes cast for, no votes against, and 949,164 abstentions, with the votes representing 59.859%, that is 1,031,543,521 votes in total. The resolution has been adopted. Thank you very much. We now proceed to item 11, consideration of the management report of the operations of TAURON Polska Energia and the TAURON Group for the financial year 2020 and adoption of a resolution on its approval. The reports have been presented and released on the website. Have you got any questions there too? If there are none, you can see the draft resolution displayed on the screen. Have you got any questions with regard to the draft resolution? If there are none, I open the vote now. Please cast your votes.
Czy wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość oddania głosu?
Shareholders had the opportunity of casting their votes. I don't see any reservations in this respect, so I request the ballot counting committee to provide me with the report on the vote results. In an open vote, there have been 31,543,521 votes cast, representing 59.859% of the share capital, with 1,030,594,357 votes for, no votes against, and 949,164 abstentions, out of 1,031,543,521 votes in total. The resolution has been adopted. Thank you very much. We shall proceed to item 12, adoption of a resolution on covering the net loss for the financial year 2020. The Management Board has filed the right request. There is a proposal that the net loss for the year 2020 has been to be covered from the company's reserve capital. Have you got any questions with regard to the draft resolution? It has been also displayed, and should you have any questions with regard to the draft resolution? If there are none, I hereby open the vote.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość.
Have all the shareholders cast their votes? If so, I hereby request the ballot counting committee to provide me the voting results. In the open vote, there have been 1,031,543,521 valid votes cast, representing 59.859% of all the share capital of the company, with 1,031,543,521 votes for, no votes against, and no abstentions, representing in total 1,031,543,521 votes in total. Thank you very much, because the resolution has been duly adopted. We will now proceed to item 30, voting en bloc in a secret vote mode on the fulfillment of duties of all members of the company's management board who perform their functions in the financial year 2020. The procedure I propose is the following. We will display the draft resolution for each member of the management board. I'll only read the name of the given member of the board. The first draft resolution concerns Mr. Marek Wadowski, Vice President of the company and Chief Financial Officer. Are there any remarks and reservations pertaining to the draft resolution? If no, I open the secret vote now.
Czy wszyscy już tak? Uczestnicy mieli możliwość.
Shareholders cast their votes. I can see everybody have done that, so I close the vote and request a report on the voting results. In the secret vote for concerning the discharge from fulfillment of duties by Marek Wadowski, we had 1,031,543,521 votes, valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares, which constituted 59.859% of the share capital, with 1,029,676,533 votes for, 281,679 votes against, and 1,585,309 abstentions. With the general 1,031,543,521 votes in total. The resolution has been adopted. We are now about to vote on a resolution concerning the granting of discharge from the fulfillment of duties by the Vice President of the Management Board, Jerzy Topolski, responsible for asset management. If there are no reservations or questions thereto, I open a vote.
Jeszcze głosowanie widzę trwa.
It is still pending.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość oddania głosu.
Have all the shareholders cast their votes? If so, I request a report on the vote results.
W głosowaniu tajnym w sprawie absolutorium.
A secret vote on granting discharge from the fulfillment of duties by the Vice President of the Management Board for Asset Management, Jerzy Topolski. We had 1,031,543,521 valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares, representing 59.859% of share capital, with 1,029,676,533 votes for, 281,679 votes against, and 1,585,309 abstentions, representing the total number of 1,031,543,521 votes in total. Thank you very much for voting. The resolution has been adopted. We are about to vote on granting the discharge from the fulfillment of duties by the President of the Board, Vice President of the Board, Mr. Wojciech Ignacok. That's the person whose fulfillment of duties we are about to discharge now. You can see the draft resolution being displayed on screen. Are there any reservations or questions with regard thereto? If no, I hereby open the secret voting. Now, please cast your votes.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy oddali głos.
If all the shareholders have cast their votes, I kindly request a report on voting results. In a secret vote on granting discharge from fulfillment of duties to be granted by to Wojciech Ignacok, we had 1,031,543,521 valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares. That is 58.859% of share capital, with 1,029,676,533 votes for, 281,679 votes against, and 1,585,309 abstentions, representing the total number of 1,031,543,521 votes in total. Thank you very much for voting. The resolution has been adopted. We are now about to vote on granting the discharge for fulfillment of duties to Mr. Filip Grzegorczyk, President of the Management Board. If there are no reservations or questions, I open the secret vote now.
Głosowanie jeszcze trwa.
The voting is in progress, I can see. If all the shareholders already cast their votes, I kindly request the results of the voting be presented to me. Thank you very much. In a secret vote on granting discharge from the fulfillment of duties to Mr. Filip Grzegorczyk with 1,031,543,521 valid votes cast representing the same number of shares and 59.859% of the share capital with 1,029,076,533 votes cast for, 881,679 votes against, and 1,585,309 abstentions with 1,031,543,521 votes in total. Thank you very much. The resolution has been adopted.
Now I would like to have another resolution displayed on the screen for Mr. Jarosław Broda, Vice President of the Management Board for Asset Management and Development. Are there any objections? If not, I am opening the voting.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mogli oddać głos, mieli taką...
All the participants have cast their votes. I would like to receive the voting report. Thank you. In the secret ballot for Mr. Jarosław Broda and the discharge of fulfillment of his duties, 1,031,543,521 votes have been cast, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. The votes for were 290,404,698. Votes against 281,679, and abstentions 857,144 votes out of the total number of 1,031,543,521 votes. Therefore, The resolution has not been adopted. There is no absolute majority of votes for adoption. Now we finished the group of votes for the members of the management board. I congratulate all those who were discharged for the fulfillment of their duties. Now we're moving on to item 14 of the agenda, adoption of resolutions on the acknowledgement of the fulfillment of duties for all members of the company's supervisory board who performed their functions in the financial year 2020. If you allow, I will proceed in the same way. I will display the, well, obviously the resolutions were announced on the website. I will only read the names. And the first draft resolution concerns the discharge from fulfillment of duties for Mr. Andrzej Kania for the fulfillment of his duties as a supervisory board chairman, and for the period where he was member of the board as well. Are there any questions? If not, please vote now.
Głosowanie trwa, czy już może wszyscy?
The vote in progress. Okay, let's wait.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy
All the attendants have cast their votes. Please provide the results.
Dziękuję.
In the secret ballot on the granting the discharge from fulfillment of duties by the chair of the supervisory board, Mr. Andrzej Kania, 1,031,543,521 votes have been cast, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. Votes for 1,003,743,284. Votes against 26,214,928, and abstentions 1,585,309, against a total number of 1,031,543,521 votes. So the resolution has been adopted. Now please provide the draft resolution for Ms. Teresa Famulska, member and chair of the supervisory board. Are there any comments to the resolution? If not, the open ballot is the secret ballot is open now.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy
If all the participants have cast their votes, please provide the results.
Dziękuję. W głosowaniu...
Thank you. In the secret ballot on granting the discharge from fulfillment of duties by Teresa Famulska, 1,031,543,521 number of votes have been cast, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. The votes for were 1,029,307,487. Votes against 650,725 votes, and abstentions 1,585,309 out of the total number of votes. So the resolution has been adopted. Now, draft resolution for Ms. Katarzyna Taczanowska, Secretary of the Supervisory Board. Please display the draft resolution on the screen. Are there any comments? If not, I'm opening the secret ballot now.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość...
If all the participants have cast their votes, please provide the results.
Dziękuję.
Thank you. In a secret ballot for granting the discharge from fulfillment of duties of the Secretary of the Supervisory Board, Ms. Katarzyna Taczanowska, 1,031,543,521 votes has been cast, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. Votes for 1,029,307,487. Votes against 650,725, and abstentions 1,585,309 out of the total number of 1,031,543,521 votes. So the resolution has been adopted. Now please display the draft resolution concerning Mr. Ryszard Madziar. We see the resolution displayed on the screen. Are there any comments? If not, I'm opening the secret ballot now.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość...
All the participants have cast their votes. Yes, so please provide the report on the results.
W głosowaniu tajnym...
In the secret ballot on granting the discharge from fulfillment of duties by the member of the Supervisory Board, Mr. Misha Magyar. 1,031,543,521 votes have been cast, constituting the same number of, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859 of the percent of share capital. Votes for 1,029,307 for 87. Votes against 657.25 and abstentions 1,585 and 309. Now another resolution concerning Mr. Grzegorz Paczkis. We have the resolution displayed on the screen. If there are no questions or comments, I'm opening the secret ballot now.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy oddali głos,
The participants have cast their votes. The secret ballot is closed, and please provide the results. Thank you. In the secret ballot on granting the discharge for fulfillment of duties by a member of the Supervisory Board, Mr. Grzegorz Paczkis, 1,031,543,521 votes have been cast, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. Votes for 1,029,676,533. Votes against 291,679. Abstentions 1,585,309. The total number of shares, like I said before. So the resolution has been adopted. Now, draft resolution for Ms. Barbara Piątek. Are there any comments to the draft resolution? If not, the secret ballot is open now.
głosowanie jeszcze trwa.
The vote in progress. Yes, I can see it is.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli
If all the participants have cast their votes, please provide the report.
Dziękuję.
Thank you. In the secret ballot on granting the discharge from fulfillment of duties by member of the Supervisory Board, Ms. Barbara Piątek, 1,031,543,521 valid votes have been cast, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. Votes for 1,029,676,533. Votes against 281. 1,679. Abstentions 1,585,309. Against the total number of votes of 1,031,543,521. So the resolution has been adopted. Thank you. Now please display the draft resolution concerning Ms. Beata Chłodzińska. Are there any comments to the draft resolution? If not, I'm opening the secret ballot.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość.
If all the participants have cast their votes, please provide the result report. Thank you. In a secret ballot on granting discharge from fulfillment of duties by Ms. Beata Chłodzińska, 1,031,543,521 valid votes have been cast, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of share capital. Votes for 1,029,676,533. Votes against 281,679, and abstentions 1,585,309 against the total number of votes, as I mentioned before. The resolution has therefore been adopted. Thank you. Now, draft resolution for Mr. Jacek Szycha is displayed on the screen. Are there any comments? No. So I am opening the secret ballot now.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość oddania głosu.
The participants have cast their votes. Please provide the results.
Dziękuję. W głosowaniu
in a secret ballot on granting the discharge for fulfillment of duties by Mr. Jacek Szycha, 1,031,543,521 valid votes have been cast, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. Votes for 1,029,676,533. Votes against 281,679, and abstentions 1,585,309 against the total number of votes as mentioned before. Thank you. The resolution has been adopted. Now, draft resolution for Ms. Barbara Łasak-Jałszak. We have the draft resolution displayed on the screen, and the secret ballot is now open.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość oddania.
The participants have cast their votes. I am closing the vote and please provide the results. Thank you. In a secret ballot concerning granting the discharge from fulfillment of duties by Ms. Łasak-Jarszak, 1,031,543,521 valid votes has been cast, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. Votes for 1,004,112,330. Votes against 25,845,882, and abstentions 1,585,309 votes against the total number of votes as mentioned before. Thank you. The resolution has been adopted. Now please display the draft resolution for Mr. Jan Płodowski. I'm opening the secret ballot.
Jeszcze głosowanie trwa, rozumiem, tak?
And the vote is in progress, right? If all the participants have cast their votes, please provide the printed off results.
W głosowaniu tajnym w sprawie absolutorium
Ballot on granting the discharge from fulfillment of duties by Mr. Jan Płodowski, 1,031,543,521 valid votes have been cast, corresponding to the number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. Votes for 1,029,676,533. Votes against 281,679. And abstentions 1,585,309. So the resolution has been adopted. Now please display the draft resolution concerning Mr. Marcin Schlenk. We have the draft resolution displayed on the screen. I'm opening the secret ballot.
Głosowanie widzę już zmierza ku końcowi. Jeżeli wszyscy
See the ballot is ending. If all the participants have cast their votes, please provide the results report printout.
Dziękuję. W głosowaniu tajnym
Here in the secret ballot on granting the discharge from fulfillment of duties by Mr. Marcin Schlenk, 1,031,543,521 valid votes have been cast, corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. Votes for 1,029,676,533. Votes against 291,679. Abstentions 1,585,309. Against the total number of votes as mentioned before. Thank you very much. The resolution has been adopted. Now please display the draft resolution concerning Mr. Andrzej Śliwka. We have the draft resolution displayed on the screen, so I am opening the secret ballot now.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli...
The participants have cast their votes. Please provide the results printed. Thank you. In the secret ballot on granting discharge for fulfillment of duties for Mr. Andrzej Śliwka, 1,031,543,521 ballot votes have been cast corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of share capital. Votes for 1,029,676,533 votes. Votes against 281,679 votes, and abstentions 1,585,309. Against the total number of votes as mentioned before. Thank you. The resolution has been adopted. And now please display the resolution concerning Ms. Agnieszka Woźniak. This is the last resolution in this item of the agenda, and I'm opening the secret ballot now.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość...
The votes have had the opportunity to cast their votes and they have cast their votes. Please provide the results.
Dziękuję. Głosowanie
in the secret ballot on granting the discharge from fulfillment of duties for Ms. Agnieszka Woźniak, 1,031,543,521 ballot votes have been cast corresponding to the same number of shares, constituting 58.859% of the share capital. Votes for 1,029,676,533, votes against 291,679, and abstentions 1,595,309. Against the total number of votes as mentioned before. Thank you. The resolution has been adopted.
This has led us to the conclusion of this item in the agenda, namely granting the discharge of the fulfillment of duties to the members of the Supervisory Board. So we are about to proceed to item 15, namely the adoption of the resolution on the amendments the company's Articles of Association. The draft resolution, including its substantiation, has been published, has been released on the company's website on the 27th of April 2021. And I would also like to announce that there will actually be two draft resolutions voted on the amendments to the Articles of Association, because The subsequent one, as proposed by the State Treasury, submitted on the 21st of May. It was already published in current running report 18/2021, including substantiation thereof as well. Now, are there any questions considering those two draft resolutions, both concerning amendments to the Articles of Association? I can't see nor hear, so I would like to see the first draft resolution displayed. Obviously, the qualified majority votes of 3/4 is required to accept this resolution. I hereby open an open vote on this draft resolution. Please vote now.
Czy wszyscy uczestnicy...
Have all the shareholders cast the votes? If so, I kindly request a report on the voting results.
Dziękuję.
Much. In an open vote, we had 1,031,543,521 valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares and 59.859% of the share capital, with 1,275,076 votes for, 300,000 votes against, and 99,968,445 abstentions. Out of the aforementioned 1,031,543,521 votes in total, considering the votes for, they represent 90.279% of all the number of votes. The qualified majority of votes has been granted. Thank you. The resolution has been adopted. Another very brief draft resolution currently being displayed concerning the amendment to one particular article, 33, paragraph 1. According to this article. So I open an overt vote now. Please cast your votes.
Głosowanie trwa jeszcze.
I can see the vote is still in progress. So if all the shareholders have already cast their votes, I close the vote and request that a report on the vote results be provided. In the voting, the 1,031,543,521 valid votes cast represent the same number of shares and 59.859% of share capital, with 930,672,030 votes for, which represent 90.221% of all the votes, no votes against, and 100,871,491 abstentions. The resolution has been adopted with the qualified majority of votes. Thank you very much. Let's proceed to another item, item 16, on adoption of a resolution on the amendments to bylaws. Now, adoption of a resolution on the report. There too, the draft resolution, including amendments to the bylaws of the general meeting of TAURON Polska Energia S.A. It was also released on the 27th of April on the company's website and is right now being displayed on the screen. Have you got any reservations or questions pertaining to these amendments? If there are none, and you can see this draft resolution being displayed currently on screen. So I repeat, if there are no reservations or questions, there too I open the vote.
Czy wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość oddania?
Shareholders cast their vote. If so, I kindly request a report on the voting results.
Dziękuję. W głosowaniu dotyczącym zmiany regulaminu walnego.
In voting on the resolution concerning amendments to the bylaws of the general meeting of shareholders, there were 1,031,543,521 valid votes cast representing the same number of shares, as well as 59.859% of share capital, with 1,030,943,521 votes for, no votes against, and 600,000 abstentions. Out of the total number of votes as aforementioned, the resolution has been adopted. We now proceed to voting on another item, namely adoption of a resolution on the report on the new remuneration of the members of the management and the Supervisory Board of TAURON Polska Energia S.A. for the period 2019-2020. This is the first time we're about to vote on this. The substantiation on the legitimacy of this report has been announced and released on the company's website. You could all have taken a look into those documents. So, have you had any questions or reservations pertaining to these documents and the substantiation there too? Now, the draft resolution in the Polish language is currently being displayed on the screen. So, if you have no reservations or questions with regard to the draft resolution, I hereby open the vote.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli prawo oddania możliwości.
Have all the shareholders cast their votes? If so, I kindly request a report on the voting results.
Dziękuję. W głosowaniu oddano miliard.
The vote. There were 1,039,543,521 valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares, representing 58.859% of the share capital of the company, with 868,659,874 votes for, 82,883,647 votes against, and 80 million abstentions. Representing the aforementioned total number of votes, 1,031,543,521 votes in total, the resolution has been adopted. We have positively approved the report. We are proceeding to another item in the agenda, namely determining the number of members of the Supervisory Board of the company. This is what we are going to vote on. The draft resolution on this matter was released on the company's website, and in accordance to paragraph Article 3.1, Article 3, the Supervisory Board is composed of 5 members, and by the resolution of the General Shareholders Meeting 27 of 15 April 2020, it was considered that the Supervisory Board of the company will comprise 9 members instead of the minimum of 5, and according to paragraph 24.1 of the bylaws of the Ordinary Shareholders Meeting, according to which before electing to supervise the board, the Ordinary Shareholders Meeting will announce the members. So could you please provide your candidates or at least suggest the number of participants, the members? Hello, Michał Jędrusiak, National Netherlands. I propose the Supervisory Board be composed of 9 members. Thank you very much. We have a motion for the Supervisory Board to be composed of 9 members. Any other motions in this regard? If there are none, I would like to see the draft resolution with the number 9 to be entered. If there are no other motions or reservations thereto, I open a vote on this draft resolution.
Jeżeli wszyscy uczestnicy mieli możliwość.
All the shareholders cast their votes now. I kindly request the report on the vote results be provided to me. In an open vote, we had 1,031,543,521 valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares and 58.859% of share capital, with 1,031,543,521 votes for, no votes against, and no abstentions, representing the aforementioned total number of votes. Thank you very much. I announce hereby that the resolution has been adopted. Now we proceed to an item concerning supplementary elections to the Supervisory Board and adopting the relevant resolutions on the appointment of members of the Supervisory Board for a 6th joint term of office. Since the ordinary general meeting of shareholders has adopted a resolution defining the number of Supervisory Board to be 9 in composition and adopting on the 15th of July 2020, electing 2 members of the board for the 6th term of office. On this day, we have further two supervisory board members to be elected. I would also like to inform you that Nationale Nederlanden, representing shareholder Nationale Nederlanden Otwarte Fundusz Emerytalny S.A. on the 21st of May this year, operating under Article 21.2 of the Articles of Association, submitted the following candidates to sit in the Supervisory Board of TAURON Polska Energia S.A. On the 6th joint term of office to get a substantiation, and their biograms. Stanisław Borkowski is the first candidate, and the other is Leszek Koziorowski. We've also received biograms and professional careers of those candidates. All those have been released on the company website on the 20th of May this year. So you had all access to those biograms and curricula. Obviously, under this item of the agenda, in a moment, I will officially ask you to propose your candidates or other candidates, if there are any. According to paragraph 24.4 of the bylaws of the General Shareholders Meeting, a participant to the General Shareholders Meeting submits candidates to the Supervisory Board with brief substantiation, attaching a written declaration of the candidate with agreement and consent to, unless provided orally to the minutes of the meeting. So there's a number of declarations on either compliance or non-compliance of the candidate of the criteria of independence from the company, or nothing in the relation of significant independence according to resolution and a decision of the European Commission of the 15th of February concerning non-executive directors being members of the Supervisory Board, committees of the board, and other including the best practices of companies listed on the stock exchange of 2016. Declaration on the consent of being a person of Supervisory Board, if elected. Declaration on the lack of obstacles to perform this function in the Supervisory Board under the current laws, and on agreement to process personal data, including public disclosure to shareholders, personal data, for reasons necessary to conduct the election for the Supervisory Board as a member. I kindly request that you officially submit your candidatures, obviously, according to paragraph 23.1, item 1, letter B of the Articles of Association. The State Treasury is excluded from the right to vote on appointment of other Supervisory Board members. The State Treasury, therefore, shall not also submit any motions with regard to that. Please submit your candidates. Any other candidates? I can see no other suggestions, no other submissions at this meeting. In other words, we are taking 2 candidates into consideration, those proposed previously, namely Stanisław Borkowski and Leszek Koziorowski, proposed as candidates for the Supervisory Board. Those candidatures, including all the valid biograms and declarations, having already been released on the company's website. So I suggest that we adopt 2 resolutions for each candidate to the Supervisory Board. One, we shall vote separately. And first, we will vote on the resolution electing Stanisław Borkowski to be a member of the Supervisory Board. Yes, we do have this draft resolution displayed on the screen. I hereby open the vote without the State Treasury.
Teraz, proszę Państwa,
Gentlemen, since this is a secret ballot, I understand that it has already been completed. It is in progress. So we can see the eligible shareholders are right now casting their votes. The results on the voting on individual resolutions concerning the election of supervisory board members shall be provided to you once we vote on 2 candidates. So I understand the eligible shareholders have cast their vote, and they not only were eligible to do that, but also effectively cast them. I hereby close the vote on the first candidate. And now, I would like to see the second draft resolution concerning the election of Mr. Leszek Kozierowski as a member of the Supervisory Board. You can see the draft resolution displayed. I open a secret vote now. I understand that the vote is in progress. If all the shareholders entitled to vote under this voting have cast their votes, I hereby close it and request a report on the vote results. I kindly request the ballot counting committee to provide the reports. Ladies and gentlemen, my announcements are the following. As far as the secret vote on electing Mr. Stanisław Borkowski as the member of the Supervisory Board, he was elected as a member of the Supervisory Board with the following votes cast. 504,695,137 valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares and 28.797% of the company's share capital, with 410,024,823 votes for, 84,082,842 votes against, and 10,587,462 abstentions. Out of the aforementioned number of total votes, 504,695,137 votes, the resolution has been adopted, and Mr. Borkowski was elected as a member of the Supervisory Board. Now, with regard to the second voting and the second resolution concerning Mr. Leszek Kozierowski to be elected as a Supervisory Board member, a secret vote, let me remind you, there were 504,695,137 valid votes cast, representing the same number of votes and shares, and 28.797% of the share capital, with 410,024,833 votes for, 84,082,842 votes against, and 1,587,462 abstentions, with 504,695,137 votes in total, with the resolution being adopted. In other words, two new members were elected to the Supervisory Board. With regard to the To the foregoing, we have exhausted the agenda of today's General Shareholders meeting. This is item 20. I hereby close the Ordinary General Shareholders meeting. Thank you for participation. Thank you for voting. I wish that you stay healthy. Congratulations to the Management Board, to the Supervisory Board and all the members. Congratulations on your discharge of duties. Thank you and goodbye.